Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? A gracious good morning to you good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do, and you know why I do it. I'm going to quickly talk about two things that are currently going on for me. One, I decided to do my hair this weekend. And by do it, I mean comb it. You guys know I hate combing my hair. I really do. I don't know why. And I don't know when this habit really developed. I think it's a flashback to being a kid and hair washing trauma. I have a sister, and, before any kind of big holiday or anything, we'd have hair washing day. And both she and I had long hair back in the day, long pigtails, and get our hair washed. And before the comb out and blow out and styling and all that good stuff, somebody would eventually have their hair almost completely dried out, which means, when you have curls, that stuff shrinks up and tightens up, and depends on who was doing the hair. It was usually my mother, and she was dog tired because she worked all day and, had to come home and do hair before the big holiday if she had it off. Any long story short, somebody would dry out and comb in that madness. And as soon as I was of age, I cut my hair. I decided to get my hair cut. And I've been dealing with different lengths of shortness ever since. And the last haircut was the shortest that it's been in a very long time. I think since my 20s. And it's just starting to grow back. And as you can see, this funky new cowlick is very accentuated. And it's new, and it's right in the center of my head. So it creates a very strange dynamic. So there you go. Hair's growing back, growing in. And I know the curls are going to be a hot mess when they do come back fully. Yeah. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to talk about is a little bit more serious. Talk about how society has a way of minimizing, our society has a way of minimizing any kind of slight. And I use the word slight, but it's not a slight. It's intentional. It's passive aggressive, and it's ignorance. But it's minimized, and they call it a microaggression. See, the word in and of itself says minimization. Oh, your pain is not real, or the slight was not real, or somebody didn't mean it. It's usually all the excuses that you get when somebody is, kind of flicking you to get a response. Let's go look at the definition. It says a microaggression is a subtle, everyday comment or action that expresses a prejudice towards the marginalized group, often intentionally. So when they say I didn't mean it or you took it wrong, don't give them a pass. It says, but still causes harm by reinforcing stereotypes or making individuals feel othered. Like asking somebody, where are you really from? Now, I had this conversation the other day with somebody, who was a little upset because somebody said they were from Oakland. It's like, you can't be from somewhere else, or you can't be from somewhere if you were born and raised somewhere else. And that was the point. And, people are very territorial about where they're from. And I understood what the person was saying because, even though I've lived in Cali these goodly number of years, I lived in Cali since 1979. But I was born and raised in New York. I cheer for New York teams. I was considered damn near grown when I moved here. I moved here when I was 17. I was old enough for college. So my sensibilities are New York. I don't care how long I've lived here. I know a lot about Cali. But I'm a New Yorker. And I'm going to claim that until I leave here. And like I said, even though I've lived in Cali longer than I lived in New York, my sensibilities are New York. Okay, so again, microaggressions. I spent a lot of time thinking about microaggressions this weekend because somebody got in their feelings about me telling them the truth. And I'll give you an abridged version of the truth that I told them that they are still wrestling with. And I got to witness, seriously, I got to witness white fragility at its best and its worst. I mean, if you've read the book, you understand how it works. And like I said, I saw this ooey. Okay, so I asked the individual before they got in my business that I did not ask them to help me with. And they told me I didn't think it was that serious. One, as a white male, you should be very careful about stepping into black spaces. Just your presence alone. So there's a lack of self-awareness. Then, to involve yourself in a situation or to put on your cape because you thought somebody needed help. Okay, and then when you're called on it, you get in your feelings and you tell the individual, well, I didn't think it was that serious. So now you've minimized their, I want to say, teaching moment based on what you thought it was worth. And when you were called on it, you got in your feelings. Then, as opposed to, hey, let me step back and look at this and hear what this person is telling me, you told the person maybe they need to look at themselves. Not ever considering why you got involved in the first place when you weren't asked to, when you weren't invited. You encroached on their space, told them it wasn't important, then got in your feelings when you were called on it. That's how fragility works. That's how microaggressions work. But because the world revolves around, you know, I know some of you who like rap music are familiar with the song Captain Save 'em or Captain Save a Ho. In this instance, me being the hoe. Yeah. But you didn't hear an invitation or a plea for help. I want you to think about how you step into spaces. That's the long story short. And how you respond when you're called on it. Yeah, I often share with people when they accuse me of too much of, or having too much of a professional remove, or as one other person put it, a lack of compassion. I have to ask the question on a regular basis, who owns the problem? And why am I working harder than the person who owns the problem? That part.